Did you know that there are more than 2,000 different types of jellyfish around the world? However, scientists believe that there could be over 300,000 different types of species yet to be discovered. And from those we do know, only 70 can be harmful to human beings. Maybe these creatures aren't from this planet at all. Welcome to Jellyfish Are Aliens, where we learn a little bit more about our ocean life and determine if they're from our planet or not. Doesn't it feel impossible to know more about space than our own planet? Or our oceans? Or the Mariana Trench that could be a black hole and send us down a spiral of conspiracies? But more on that later. Hi, my name is Victoria Aurora, and I'm going to be your host for this little podcast on the internet. And I think it's always nice to introduce yourself to your audience. And some of you might know me, some of you might not. And that's okay. I think I want to explain kind of like where my obsession of jellyfish started and kind of see if it sparks some sort of interest of your own. Now, I was born in New York by two New Yorkers who were also raised like in Brooklyn and Queens. But by the time I was 2, my parents moved to the beautiful beaches of Florida. Before cell phones and digital cameras, and all you had was your watch to tell the time. And in the 90s, going to the beach probably was just this tranquil, beautiful escape from the day-to-day. I, being a Florida baby and a millennial who had a cell phone when she turned 16, would go to the beach constantly. It was probably a large percentage of my personality for more than half my life at this point. Even when we vacation now, not living in Florida anymore, we go to the ocean constantly. I've always felt drawn to it. I've always felt intrigued by it. I even took oceanography in high school and took it in college. Like, it was always something that intrigued me and just sparks all types of the right endorphins for me personally. My best friend is a marine biologist, or at least a biologist. My husband wanted to be a marine biologist for a really long time. Like, this is something that I'm very passionate about, but I feel like if you knew me personally, you wouldn't necessarily know that. Maybe. I don't know. Other people's perceptions is always kind of lost on me. But I knew at a very young age that I'm actually allergic to sea lice. And I know that sounds weird, but if you're from Florida or know about sea lice, you know that they're just the baby jellyfish that hang out in the seaweed that kind of get washed towards like the shoreline. So if that you're swimming in the ocean, they get kind of caught in your bathing suit, and then they'll sting you like these little baby stings like all over your body, and it'll look like you got like kind of like that bed bug or like hives in a sense. Now most people respond to that with like an itchy bite, like you got attacked by like an anthill or something like that. I kind of break out way heavier than that. I get like super bad fevers, and I'm like bedridden for like at least a day and a half. My mom is actually allergic to red ants as well, so I don't know if it has like something to do with that. I've never really like dive too much into allergenic stuff. I'm not even sure how any of that works. I'm not the smartest person on the internet. I don't know if you could tell, but I'm also not going to be an expert in any of these things. So if you came here to learn some stuff or brighten your intrigue on certain things, you came to the right place. But if you wanted to learn more scientifically stuff, I'm sure there are other YouTube channels that will have all of those types of things. This is definitely more of a piques my interests kind of podcast. I just want to talk about jellyfish. I want to tell you guys more about them. Like the thimble jellyfish, they're in their free swimming stages of development, which is at like larvae state. We're going to talk kind of about like the immortal jellyfish and how it kind of like its life cycle can kind of be insane later. But yeah, I don't think people realize like every ocean has jellyfish. It feels like they're even the smallest corners of the planet have some jellyfish, and we're going to talk about that too in another episode, because there are just these amazing, amazing creatures that exist in our oceans that we know little about. And you can arguably say jellyfish aren't the most intelligent creatures. Obviously, they are invertebrates that just kind of mosey on the ocean and just kind of like float through life. But maybe we can learn maybe something a little bit about that like, you know, our lives are kind of what we make it. And when you're floating through this existence of life, you know, humans, we care so much because we can intentionally think about things, but we also think about things too much. And in a weird way, this is like a self journey for me too, because if you do know me, I think way too much and I overthink everything. And I'm trying to channel my inner jellyfish and just kind of float through life and understanding that, like, you know, you can kind of just come along and just swim along, and maybe you'll get eaten by a turtle, but you know what? Your life was still good. You still lived your life, you know? But not to get super existential on anybody. I don't want to do that. But let's talk about some of the 2,000 species of fish, of jellyfish, that we have to dive into. We have quite a few to get through. I'm thinking each episode we kind of highlight 3 different jellyfish and talk about each one in a little bit more detail. Like today, we're going to do sting levels of jellyfish. We have some of the most dangerous and some of the most mild. 2 are definitely are going to be jellyfish that could literally kill you. There are some that are able to shut down nervous systems, kind of like a snake bite in a weird way. But yeah, let's jump right into it. Let's talk about some box jellies. Now the box jelly, I'm going to butcher this name. Every one of these like scientific names for the jellyfish, you might as well just like look up the pronunciation, because like your girl can't do it. It's like Torapitius, Nutricula, I don't know. Now this species is commonly referred to as the immortal jellyfish, because it has this life cycle where it kind of like becomes a mollusk again and becomes this, like, I'll put a picture up so you guys can see. Now it can accomplish this through cell development process known as differentiation. That's too many syllables. Now this is interesting. They're like little time lords. They kind of like start the caterpillar process all over again. Like after being a butterfly, they become like a caterpillar again, which is very interesting. And I don't know how people can't see a species on our planet that does something like this and doesn't think, how could that be from this planet? How could something on this planet exist like this and us not understand how or why? Or, I mean, maybe there are scientists that are like, yep, we know exactly why, and we know this and we know that, and we're using it to like further development of science, but I am not that scientist. I am just looking at this creature being like, I'm sorry, what? This jellyfish just kind of like, as it dies, just turns into a baby again. It's a phoenix jellyfish, a phoenix jellyfish. Like that, just in my mind, to me, only feels fiction, but somehow really does exist on this planet. And that's why I just will always think that they're not necessarily from here, or maybe we're not the ones that are from here and this has always been their planet and we're just ruining it, you know? Now we have the moon jellyfish, which is a very common type of jellyfish, often seen in the shores of Europe and North America. It's simply that like iconic pink or blue jelly that we have like surrounding me right now. It looks kind of like a full moon. Now, this is found in approximately 20 feet deep water. So this is not a deep ocean. This is like a top ocean category of jellyfish. So they're the most common for like humans to see. And like the ones that like the sea turtles eat most commonly. Now, their sting is very mild. If you get stung by this jellyfish, you're not going to die. You're going to be fine. Someone could probably pee on your leg and you'll be just okay. Now, it might become itchy and annoyed. It's kind of like a poison ivy-ish kind of attack. Now, remember, I guess I didn't talk about this yet, but if you don't know already, when the jellyfish little tendrils, their little hangy down bits, hit your body or your skin, it's a defense mechanism that like shoots you with these like little tiny barb. They like go, it like it. I could show you like a little video of it. But that is just a defense mechanism. They don't even know they're doing it. They are not an intelligent species that we know of at this point, that they are just defending you from eating it, right? They're like, hey, don't eat me, get out of here, don't touch me, kind of thing. Very Finding Nemo, where they're just kind of like floating about and Dory gets stuck in the tendrils, but because what's his name isn't, he's used to the anemones attacking him, Nemo's dad can just kind of like go on top of the jellies because the tops aren't poisonous or have stingers. It's just their tendrils hanging down. Now, with that being said, those are like, I would say they're probably like a hand size, maybe somewhere between a few inches long type of size of jellyfish. But some of the creepiest jellyfish on the planet are the tiniest ones. The tiniest species that has the most dangerous venom is called the Irakia dabji box jelly. Now, this is the same type of jelly we talked about before, but it's super small. It's the smallest jellyfish in the world. The average size is just 1 centimeter. So you're not going to see that jellyfish, right? You're not going to see that jellyfish chilling, but it's proven to be most fatal to humans. So these are the things that kind of pique my interest. Why are the smallest things on the planet sometimes the most dangerous? Look at poison dart frogs. Look at some of the insects on the planet. Think of spiders. Think of some of these smallest things in the world end up being kind of sometimes the most dangerous. And now, not that I knew this, but I had to look this up, but over 150 million people around the world are exposed to jellyfish every year. So humans interact with these things constantly, right? Approximately 200,000 people are stung in Florida every year. 200,000 people? That's a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of people who visit Florida. There's a lot of people who live in Florida, but that's a lot of people who get stung in Florida on a yearly basis, and maybe even over 500,000 people around the Chesapeake Bay area. Wow. It's a lot of interaction with this species that we know probably like little to nothing about, which is crazy. Now, over 100 humans' lives are lost per year as a result of a jellyfish sting, or a different, and this happens all over the world. Australia, Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia, all Japan, where they have all of the crazy, like, more dangerous jellyfish. Now, there are even jellyfish that are single-handedly managing to temporarily shut down nuclear power plants in Japan because they're getting stuck in the cooling system. Because I guess they just, like, can live in some of these waters that are contaminated, and they become like these big swarms of jellyfish, and they have, I guess, tons of babies because I guess they just kind of like let themselves procreate on like this ridiculous level. Now, they also are able to adapt to different zones in which the pollution and there's little to no oxygen in the water, which is even crazier because that means they do still need to live in water to survive, but it also sounds like they don't necessarily need the oxygen that's in the water. So are they like using the hydrogen that's in the water? I don't know. I like don't know the sciencey parts of this, but like I am so intrigued by it and I need to learn more. And like through this process, we are going to learn together more about these jellyfish and more about this species and how maybe or maybe not they might not even be from this planet. Because if they don't necessarily need the oxygen to survive, if they need the hydrogen to survive, did they live on a different planet at one point? Was there another alien species that was like obviously way smarter than us and way more like intelligent and scientifically way faster than us, saving jellyfish from this other planet because their water was like, I don't know. My brain just goes to this like creative place of like, well, maybe the jellies aren't from here. Maybe there's another alien species. Maybe all this stuff on the aliens are in the ocean. Maybe the aliens don't give a fuck about us. Maybe they don't care about us at all. Maybe they just care about the jellies and they're trying to save these species of jellyfish and put them into our oceans. And then now we're ruining our oceans. I don't know. Who knows? I feel like I could go like down an entire rabbit hole of what we're doing to the planet. And if I was an intelligent alien species looking down at this planet, I would be like, those dumb humans just poisoning their water and putting dumb food in their bodies. And they're going to screw up the jellyfish's habitat. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I have no idea, but guys, if you want to learn more about jellyfish or if you're intrigued by conspiracies, this is the podcast for you. We're going to be talking about all things jellyfish, oceans, aliens. Are we the aliens? Are they the aliens? Could there be alien species on this planet besides jellyfish? A lot of ocean life seems a little weird comparatively to all the other species on the planet, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment down in the comments. Leave a comment letting me know if you think jellyfish are aliens, or are we the aliens, or if there's any other species in the ocean that you're like, you got to deep dive into this. We'll do it. We'll do more deep dives. We'll learn more about jellyfish, and maybe you'll learn something. Maybe you'll learn something about yourself. Maybe you'll learn something about this planet. Maybe you'll just put your phone down for a little bit from scrolling from TikTok. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, we'll see you guys in the next episode.